Alright, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to you brothers all across the world who are bringing out this truth and faith and in sincerity. Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, Barakatham, to the sincere and hopeful elect. Esau back at it again.
Science industry, and you want to tell us to stop because oh my God, we're so bad. We invented the modern world. I feel you. We invented the modern world. You fucking degenerate. We saved billions of people from starvation. Are you joking? We built modern civilization. White people are the best thing that ever happened to the world. We are so amazing. I love myself, and I love white people. Say that one more time. Fuck yeah, white people. Right here. Fuck yeah, white men. We're white men. We did everything. I don't hate other people. I just love my white men. I just love white men.
Alright. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 5, verse 9. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger. Right? So this is a stranger, man. That's a strange guy right there. So this explains why those so-called black women were stuck in that situation and had to deal with that strange, awkward moment. This is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 12. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. See, because they're probably students from the university. They thought they were going to go to this university, Columbia University, and be taught by the top scholars in the world, which are really just, basic low-level Edomites. You know what I mean? Guys like him. And he truly does believe that he is the number one guy on the planet, which is just simply not true. You know what I mean? Esau is definitely on the fall. But back to the point, these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in Confusion in the Face brothers, they trust in the oppression of this guy. This guy right here, right, who looks like he's probably like 100 pounds soaking wet. You know what I mean? Come on now. This guy probably, has a couple stocks. Yeah, he probably takes a couple classes. But this guy isn't doing anything. He's not behind any sort of policies. He's not doing any sort of legislative change. He doesn't run any committees, boards. He doesn't put sanctions on anybody. This is a low-level Edomite. And you trust in the oppression of this guy. You see, this is how all so-called Edomites think, man. This is how they all think. Exactly how this guy was ranting. All right. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 2. And they covet fields, meaning this guy's people, Esau, Edom, and take them by violence, right? So just like he said, they are the best and all this other, wording. But they know that they've taken this place by violence. And houses, right? So you have entire genealogies just wiped out. You have I'm pretty sure that over 70% of Judah itself has been aborted. I'm pretty sure that the remaining number of us are just lucky. But a good percentage of Judites have been aborted. And that's oppression, Birth control is oppression. It's all oppression, man. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Esau wants you to have kids so that he can tell them what to do and indoctrinate them. So once again, that's another way to take your house too, by taking away your children, your woman, your heritage, and continuing on, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So they say, why you got that headband on? Why is January 1st not the New Year's? They ask dumb questions like that. And it's like, we all know that Christmas is a fake holiday. We all know that Christopher Columbus didn't, discover America. All these other things. Yeah, this guy still believes in that delusion. He's an idiot. You know what I mean? He's the same guy. This guy reincarnated, right? Back in his past life, was probably just a dirty Edomite. Eating, pork spare ribs and shit. This is the book of Acts, chapter 20, verse 30. Also, of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them. So you have a lot of people who defend this man. Oh, he's right. We wouldn't have these buildings and medicine if it wasn't for the so-called white man. And a lot of these people who say that are so-called Israelites. You damn Israelites who are trying to cleave unto Esau, Edom. Hey, y'all gotta go, man. Ain't no Edomites making it in the kingdom. Period. It's no other argument. How you gonna get in? You gonna sneak in? Is an Edomite gonna sneak in? No. It's no way for him to obtain salvation. It's no way to it's nowhere to argue it. Yet you have some people, you got TD Jakes, Creflo Dollar, all these other people speaking perverse things, because that's our own people. Those are Israelites. You know what I mean? Hell, Joel Osteen got, he has quote unquote good hair, so shit. He may not be white. He could be a 2/3 Israelite, but hey, he's definitely gonna take the chip. You know what I mean? He's definitely gonna take the chip. And this guy right here, he looks like the type that would take the chip too. You know what I mean? Because that's coming too. Because that's another way that the men shall arise and speak perverse things. They'll say, oh, well, in order to be in the so-called white man society, you got to take the chip. See, you got guys like this guy right here saying he's an innovator. Man, he's not an innovator.
We built the modern world. We built the modern world. Europeans.
They built the modern world. Europeans. Now, he's not talking about a nationality. Esau, Edom, was granted a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The opportunity to rule the world, but only for a certain amount of time. And that time is up.
Built the modern world. We invented science industry. We invented science industry, and you...
They invented science and industry. Actually, everything that you see now is basically a manifestation of a handful of things. A combination of Egypt, a combination of Greece, a combination of the Medo-Persian Empire, a combination of the Roman Empire, a combination of the Assyrian Empire, a combination of the Babylonian Empire. It's a combination of a lot of things. That's why this place is a soup of abomination. It is all sorts of wickedness. You can go one place and see a fake Eiffel Tower, then you can go one place and see a fake pyramid. This place is just crooked, This is the book of Philippians chapter 2, verse 15. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Right? So, and by being blameless and by being harmless, you don't physically attack an Edomite. There's going to be a time for that, but the time is not appointed. But when it's time to whip Esau ass, it's going to be time to whip Esau ass. And that's the spiritual power is going to be unlike anything anybody has ever seen. You know, the elder out of GMS Chicago, Elder Malcolm, I seen a recent trailer that he was doing some sort of commentary on it, and the way that he was matching the scriptures up to the movie. Basically, it's like a kid with these powers. Now, it's an Edomite kid, I believe, but it's these kids. It's this kid with this power, almost like unto a Superman or something like that. You know what I mean? But he's killing other Edomites and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? So he's matching that up, saying that the people who make the movies and things, they know about the scriptures, and they know that one day they're gonna get attacked in that same manner. You know, because in the trailer, and I seen it, this lady was hiding in a freezer, much like where you would put frozen meat at a restaurant or whatever in the back, and the Edomite kid just lasered through the metal, busted through, and just basically just killed the lady instantly, you know? So Esau knows that that's coming. One day there's going to be and you know what? Let me get that after I finish this. Without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. So this guy is part of the crooked and perverse nation of Esau that he's speaking of. This quote unquote European people that made the world great. This is the important part. Among whom ye shine as lights in the world. So everybody wants to be like Jake. Everybody wants to be like the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. If you go to Southern California and you walk into a store, you'll see a so-called white woman wearing a traditional Native American garb. You can go to Montana and you can see a so-called white man with a poncho on, which that's an Issacharite item. You know what I mean? With the fringes on it. You know, you see the so-called white woman, she wearing the Native American, covers with the fringes on them. You know? Because we are the light. Israel is the light of the entire world. Everybody wants to look like Jake. And even though, Esau wants to argue and say, oh, we made Adidas, we made Under Armour, we made Nike. So it's not, this isn't black people clothes. When everybody knows for a fact, back when Esau was wearing, Izod and all that, back in the 80s, black people, that's when black people had their own kind of style going on, and everything was it was fresh. It was always fresh. Israel was always the freshest. And throughout time, Adidas, Nike, everything has been associated simply with Jacob. You know what I mean? It wasn't until recently that a couple of Edomites came around. And I believe that most of the people that you perceive as white people, they're actually Israelites that have these shoe deals. Like Dirk Nowitzki, I believe he's an Israelite. Rob Gronkowski, I believe he's an Israelite also. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys who have these Nike shoe deals, this is Jake. It's always been Jake that was the light of the look, everything. Everything has an influence of Jacob. But that's simply because he followed after Esau, and that's why Jake is even worse than Esau in certain aspects, because Jake went overboard. Now we have guys waiting in line for $300 Jordans. Y'all are supposed to be the light of the world, yet we're putting ourselves in these bad situations. And everybody has made a bad purchase at least once in their life, but you can't continue to put yourself in certain financial situations to look up to Esau. Because Esau is always, this guy is dressed like a bum, but he probably has more in his bank account than everybody sitting in that direct space, you know? So he's really feeling himself. But he's not the light. He's acting like these quote unquote Europeans are the light bearers. So I'm just going to go to Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1. Salakia. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So even in this, her is associated with Edom, right? So all of these guys have a real whiny sort of woman type spirit about them. Verse 2, Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, though thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground? So you see a guy like this, he's really feeling himself, saying that, they built everything, and, oh man. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. All right, this guy is probably talking about all the achievements of this guy and that guy, and how the Europeans did this. And he's just dirty. He probably hasn't taken a shower in a couple days. Verse 5, And if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? And it's customary that whenever you are to harvest your food, your produce, right, you're supposed to give a portion to whoever helped you harvest that produce. See, a thief, right, that's what makes Esau so perverse. He takes and he takes and he takes. And then he wants you to give him tribute. Not only does he take, but he wants you to get. That's the difference. See, Israel had laws set up like that to help certain people. Like if you had a neighbor and he didn't have any grapes, something happened. There was a mudslide or something, and his grapes just got destroyed. You would tell him, hey, if you help me bring in my grapes during the harvest, you know what I mean? I'll give you a certain percentage, or I'll give you a certain percentage and then you give me a certain percentage of, spices or whatever you may have, you know what I mean? But Esau was always about taking. He'll set you up. To this day, does he not set you up? Oh, meet me here and I'm gonna buy fuck it, I'm going to buy a whole country. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of these guys want to do in New Zealand. They say they want to buy a whole country. You go to meet the guy, right? And he just disappears. You got guys like Mark Zuckerberg. He goes to a place in New Zealand. He buys the house, right? Next thing you know, he's moving. He's making bunkers underground and shit. Like, he's really going off. He's going all out, and he's all offense, man. He don't leave no grapes. Verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? And first of all, they were sought up when Yahushua HaMashiach came and basically gave everybody the blueprint to the future of Israel. He was basically telling Israel, hey, Esau, Edom is the enemy. The heathen nations are enemies. He exposed. He was one of the first people to, in a more modern sense, expose Esau, because there was still the Bible around during the time of Yahushua. But he was like the living example of exposing Esau, exposing everything, exposing Jake. Also, the 2/3, and then later on, in the future, right, through the internet, and through these videos, specifically Great Millstone. Verse 7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? So everything that this guy got is because of the Lord. Most High God put the spirit on a lot of these guys. The only reason why this guy is currently going to Columbia University is because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua put him there. Maybe just to make him an example. I'm pretty sure this guy right here is going to have some sort of reprimand. He's going to have some sort of probationary period for his outburst, man. This is on campus. It looks like you can't just go talking shit about Jake anymore. Verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. And not by them just disappearing. No, by slaughter, man. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, right, which is you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and confusion of face brothers, shall shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So once every single Edomite passes, right, because the 1/3 and the 144,000 are going to be saved from these nuclear missiles, right? The heathens, the ones that take the chip, the ones that don't take the chip, ultimately are going to die. You know what I'm saying? So, when every single Edomite has passed away in the flesh, they're going to be manifested in the spirit. And they're going to serve 1,000 years of slavery, all of them collectively. And after that, they're going to be destroyed, and they will never be seen again. After that 1,000 years, you'll never see a so-called white person ever again. It's not going to be possible. Anybody who argues it, where are your counterpoints? Nobody's going up against what Great Millstone is saying, except for scoffers. But nobody has a legitimate platform to base anything off of. No, nobody. Because Esau knows that his science is fairy tales, that the earth is billions of years old. Man, get out of here, man. Kick rocks, Esau. Like, how is the earth that old? Doesn't make any sense, man. Verse 11. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother, and the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, because Esau, this guy right here, his people were happy when Israel, when Israel got subdued. You know, when Judah and Jerusalem got subdued, they were happy. It says, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. And that's this guy right here. This guy is definitely speaking proudly in the day of distress. We have the worst economy we've ever had in human history. Don't let anybody fool you. This spending for Christmas for these Edomites, man, is going to be record highs. Then once the new year rolls in, there will be record low. There will be record low output. You are going to see you're going to see people returning gifts at the stores that they bought. You know, you're gonna have parents make up some excuse so they can't get kids gifts. You know, and what an Israelite man needs to tell his kids is that Christmas is a fantasy. and it is not relevant to anything in this world. It's a pagan holiday, and it doesn't need to be celebrated. Really, it needs to be called out. This guy right here needs to be reprimanded amongst the board of educators of Columbia University, and he needs to have some repercussions come, because this is outrage. Because he's speaking proudly in the day of distress. Verse 13, thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. And what does that substance include? Gold, land, assets, but a very key part is the women. They laid their hands on our women. You see, as when Jerusalem got taken over in 70 AD, there was a lot of women that didn't have their husbands, and they ran this direction or that direction, and they got taken up by Esau, Edom, never heard from again. Much like you have today, Verse 14, neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. So just like I just said, neither shouldest thou have delivered up, that's the spirit, Salakia. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. So the people that stuck it out, maybe they just couldn't get out in time or whatever. They searched through everywhere and found, everybody, as many as they could, and because of the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, there was a certain remnant that got away. Just like there was a certain remnant that made it out of Egypt, there was a certain remnant that made it out of the captivity of the Babylonians, and so on and so forth. There was a certain remnant that got called to election in Greece, and brothers all over the world got called to election, and is being called to election. This is verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. So you're going to be destroyed. You know what I mean? Finish this up.
I want to tell us to stop because, oh my God, we're so bad. We invented the modern world. I feel you. You're so dumb. We invented the modern world. That's fucking degenerate. We saved billions of people from starvation.
Killed billions.
We built modern civilization. White people are the best thing that ever happened to the world.
So-called white man is the devil. Oh, he got demons on him.
Fuck yeah, white people. Fuck yeah, white men. We're white men. We did everything. I don't hate other people. I just love my white men. I just love white men.
Call hello Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai B'Hashem Rakak Wadash Wa Baba Ball. And you're going to see a lot of people act out just like this. But they know it's coming. He probably just freaking out because he can see Jake. Jake is on the rise. And I hope he has all that energy inside of him when these chariots return. I hope he has that same feeling of triumph when the sun is blackened by the arrival of the chariots that are coming for him, specifically, for Esau, Edom. But hopefully that was edifying, and shalom to the hopeful leg.